The top 10 action anime of all time. That's what he will see in this video. I'm 𝐸𝐴𝐵𝐶, and make sure to stay until the end because all the enemies on this list are fire. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Devilman Crybaby. Devils cannot take form without a living host. However, if the will of an individual is strong enough, they can overcome the demon and make its power their own, becoming a Devilman. Akira is a kind-hearted young man who is known to cry for others. One fateful day, he is reunited with his childhood friend, Ryo, who enlists his help in finding demons. In the carnage that follows, Akira finds herself fused with mighty demon warrior 𝐸𝐴𝐵𝐶, but instead of being a victim and becoming a host to 𝐸𝐴𝐵𝐶, however, Akira had the strength to make 𝐸𝐴𝐵𝐶's power his own, and thus, Devilman is born. With his newfound demonic powers, Akira works alongside his childhood friend, destroying those that harm humanity and his loved ones. And if you are a lovely person, already smash that like button, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. I'm always bringing you top 10 anime lists just like this one, and I bet you don't want to miss it. Btung. Ryota Sakamoto is unemployed and lives with his mother. In the online gaming world, however, he's famed as one of the best players of Btung, a highly popular game where players throw bombs at enemies and harvest their ships. Everything was going well, until the day he finds himself trapped on an island, in the middle of nowhere, with a small green crystal embedded in his left hand, and with no memory of how he got there. To his shock, someone decided to recreate the game that he likes so much in real life, where the stakes are life or death. Armed with a bag full of unique bombs, the players are tasked with killing 7 of their fellow participants and taking their green crystals in order to return home. Initially condemning any form of violence, Ryota is forced to fight when he realizes that many of the other players are not as welcoming as they may seem. Together with Himiko, a high school girl, they try to leave the island together, getting closer and closer to the truth behind the contest of death. JoJo Bizarre Adventure. Our main protagonist of this show is Jonathan Joestar, a young man from a rich family. He lived a peaceful life until the day his father decided to adopt Dio Brando, and Dio planned to steal the fortune from the Joestar family. However, Jonathan discovered the plans and confronted Dio. When Dio realized that his plans wouldn't work, he used the ancient stone mask that turned him into a vampire. Thus begins the legendary story of the Joestar family, as they try to get rid of the Dio plans. Full Metal Panic. Equipped with cutting-edge weaponry and specialized troops, a private military organization named Mithril strives to extinguish the world's terrorism and all threats to peace on Earth. The organization is powered by the whispered individuals who possess intuitive knowledge and remarkable ability to create powerful devices and machinery. Sosuke, a 17-year-old sergeant, has been assigned to protect Kaname, a whispered candidate. He infiltrates her school to protect her while pretending to be an ordinary student, and without her knowing that she is in danger. Sosuke, unfortunately, has no social experience outside of his military life, having literally been raised as a soldier, and therefore has no idea how to act properly in civilian life. While he is trying to adapt to a normal school life to protect Kaname, the enemy forces are beginning to move, and Sosuke is about to discover that the opponent who comes after the girl may be much more familiar than he expects. And if you are familiar with comedy animes and want some recommendations on what funny animes to watch, check out this video that I made, I bet you won't regret it. Magi. In a small village, a boy named Simba is born. His birth creates a radiant wave throughout the rock, a declaration of a singularity to those at the height of magical power. Despite his village being plagued by economic instability and the repercussions of the war, Simba leads a joyful life, until the arrival of a stranger destroys the peaceful world and a tragedy strikes him. Years later, mysterious buildings called dungeons appeared around the world, rumored to contain great power and treasures. These dungeons piqued the interest of adventurers and armies alike, although to this day none have returned therefrom. Simba, inspired by the shocking events of his childhood and by his father's words, he yearns to begin exploring the world behind his village. Sinbad meets a traveler named Yunnan. Shaken by Sinbad's history and ambitions, Yunnan directs him to a dungeon that he claims has the power Sinbad needs to achieve his goals, the power of a king. Dororo. This one is a little dark. This show tells the story of a boy whose father made a pact with demons. So when our main character is born, the demons have already stolen almost all parts of his body. Somehow our main character didn't die and got adopted by an old man, who gave him a lot of prosthetics. After some time our main character decides to go on a journey to kill demons and recover his stolen body parts. On his way he befriends a young bandit named Dororo, and this is where the anime starts. So if you like sword fights and a little darker stories, maybe you should take a look at this anime. 𝐴𝐚𝐭𝐜𝐡. While Tatsumi, our main character, was going to the capital to earn money to his starving village, he ends up fighting an empire of unimaginable corruption, all spreading out by the depraved minister, who controls the boy emperor for his own purposes. And General Hesef, the strongest human in the empire, who helps create a world where only the strong rule. After nearly becoming a victim of the corruption himself, Tatsumi is recruited by Night Ride, a group of assassins dedicated to eliminating the corruption that plagues the capital, mercilessly killing those responsible. And so begins Tatsumi's journey, alongside with his friends, to dethrone the minister and restore peace to the kingdom. And hey, listen here, do you enjoy animes where the main character is overpowered? Then when you finish this video, check out this other video that I made, where I show you the top 10 animes where the main character is weak but becomes overpowered. And the next anime on our list is Youjo Senki. Tanya is a young soldier, famous for her tactical aptitude, earning her the nickname of the Devil of the Rhine. And that's who the story is all about. Although she has the appearance of a little girl, she has the soul of a man who challenged being X, a self-proclaimed god, who killed him and made him reincarnate as the little girl Tanya. For Tanya to take revenge on him, she resolves to ascend the ranks of her country's military, and the anime follows her in her battles. I'm not sure if I will pronounce this right, but I will try. Kotetsujo no Kabaneri. This anime starts in the midst of the Industrial Revolution, when horrific creatures emerge from a mysterious virus, ripping through the flesh of humans to serve their never-ending appetite. The only way to kill those beings, known as Kabane, is by destroying their steel-coated heart. However, if bitten by one of these monsters, the victim is doomed to a fate worse than death, as the fallen rise once more to join the ranks of their undead companions. Only the most fortified civilizations survived this situation, as is the case of the island of Inamoro, where humanity created a huge wall to protect itself from the endless hordes of Kabane. The only way to enter this giant fortress is through heavily armored trains, which are serviced and built by young people like Ikuma, our main protagonist. Having created a deadly weapon that he believes will easily pierce through the hearts of Kabane, he eagerly awaits the day when he will be able to fight using his new invention. However, little does he know that his chance will come much sooner than he expected, since he will have to use his invention to survive. And for the last anime on our list we have 𝐴𝐴𝐵𝐵 Ultimate. There are creatures of darkness that plague the night, devouring any human being unhappy enough to be caught in his clutches. On the other side is 𝐴𝐴𝐵𝐵, an organization dedicated in destroying those supernatural forces known as vampires, that threaten humanity's very existence. The leader of this organization is Integra 𝐴𝐴𝐵𝐵, who commands a powerful army and spends his life fighting the undead. Integra's vast army, however, pales in comparison with her ultimate weapon, a true vampire known by the name Alucard, who works against his own kind as an exterminator for 𝐴𝐴𝐵𝐵. With his new vampire servant Seros at his side, Alucard must fight not only with monsters, but with all those who oppose 𝐴𝐴𝐵𝐵, be they under the guise of good or evil. And just before finishing, I wait for you here in these two other videos with more anime recommendations, so make sure to check it out. Hope you enjoyed and stay well.